See if I remember how to do this whole YouTube thing, eh? What is up, guys? It's your boy Presley from Live a Little, and today I come with you. Wait, dude. Man. I got some rust. What is up, guys? It's your boy Presley from Live a Little, and today I bring you a new mini-series to the channel where we are going to be looking at teams, position players / hitters, whatever you want to call them, and pitchers who had an overachieving year or a very underachieving year, and we are going to call this series Bummers and Hummers. Yeah, creative. I thought it was creative. I don't know, man. This is so weird. I haven't done this since it's been at least 6 months. It's probably been longer than that. The last time I can remember doing it was 6 months ago. I don't know, but we're back. I don't know if y'all were with me through the summer where I hung out with a band known as Morningbuzz. Go check out their music. They got new music dropping in a month from today, the release of this video. And I don't know, it was a long, great summer. I don't know what I'm doing back here. It's been really weird not making YouTube videos. I've had the will to do it, and the problem with having the will to do it is I just could not come up with ideas. I was literally laying in bed 3 days ago. I mentioned the reasoning in this video, but I was laying in bed like 3 days ago, and I was like, man, that's actually a really cool idea. So this video is going to be based a lot on my preseason predictions, which, boy, I messed that up, man. Lots of teams on this list that make both lists actually completely screwed my predictions for the division standings and consequently the playoffs. But there is one team on this list that I got 100% right. Today we are covering the team portion of it, and we are going to start off with our bummers list, starting from 5, just so y'all get a theory of how this works. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, honorable mention, and the most disappointing team of the year. And then consequently, we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, honorable mention, most overachieving team of the year. And I just hope you enjoy. This should be a little bit of a longer video, but I feel like it's going to have a lot of good baseball content in it. And if you are a baseball fan, interested in lists and whatnot, I think this is a pretty good one. Alright, coming in the number 5 spot for your bummers, this is going to be the St. Louis Cardinals. A lot of people are going to be surprised with this team on this list, but number 5 is kind of one of those that is like, it could have gone either way, right? I had the Cardinals walking away with the NL Central, and they're not in competition for that spot. They're just not. Barely in competition for the playoff spot, and that's just not good. You go out in the offseason, make some make one really, really big, starter level name transaction that I feel like definitely could have carried you to a playoff spot. And even if they do eventually get there, we have like a week and a half left in the season. I'm making this like a little early, but I mean, even if you do eventually get there, it's still a disappointing season because you do not get a title. You do not get an NL Central title, which I feel like in that division, especially this year, something you definitely should be competing for, and that's why they make it at number 5. Coming in at number 4 on this list is my Miami Marlins, and you're like, why? You know they were going to be bad. Well, here's the thing. I'm a Marlins fan, so I don't know. The only team on this list that were expected to be bottom of a division, not a contender. But the problem with this team is that the only positive that came out of this season was the fact that you're not winning 100 games, and that's just not what fans expected. You were looking for a 480 to 500 winning percentage team, especially in a division where I thought was going to be the toughest division in baseball. Turns out I was completely wrong. I mean, it was kind of a long shot call, but I really thought it was going to be the toughest division in baseball, and I thought you were going to pull out, maybe even a 3 spot. You might be sitting in 3rd. It's a competitive division, but no, you just fall off. You're looking at a 420 winning percentage team, 420 to 430 winning percentage team, And that's just not what Marlins fans expect. You can make the joke, there's not many of you, so who cares? But, I mean, like, young talent that just, you didn't see. You saw a lot of pitching talent develop, but young talent like, the JJ Days, if you keep up with the minor league stuff, just did not translate very well. You got a lot of bright spots, but it just wasn't a good year for the Marlins, and that's why they make it in number 4. Now we get into the real interesting ones, because at number 3 I have the San Diego Padres, and I know they're still technically competing for a spot just like the Cardinals, but no, they're a lot worse. We are told going into this season that they have the star power and the talent, which they are talented, that they have the talent to dethrone the Dodgers this year, and they didn't. They didn't even come close, actually. Like, they're 7 games above the Rockies, and the Rockies were given a 0% chance to make the playoffs this year. And you're a team that's 7 games above them. The Rockies might have overperformed, like minusculely, but it's not you. You're supposed to be. We're told you're supposed to be at the top of the division. It's supposed to be you and the Dodgers. Right here. Dodgers probably right here, and you just didn't do that. Even if you do clinch wild card spot, it's a disappointing year in my eyes. I think you need a division title, especially with all the hype around you. And now you're labeled the 12-year-old's favorite team because of Fernando Tatis, and that's just not good. It's not a good look. It kind of becoming the Yankees of years past, where people are buying into the hype, and that's Yankees fans will tell you that's not where you want to be because nothing ever happens. That's why the Padres are coming in at number 3 on this list. Boy, do I have a bracket buster here. Coming in at number 2, we have the Minnesota Twins. And I can't really tell you why the Minnesota Twins are at number 2 on this list, besides the fact that I had them pick high. I had them pick to go out and compete in a very, very weak division. Well, not only did they not go out and compete, they're now competing for 4th place, and that's just not very good. You end up being sellers at the deadline. It looked like you never even stood a chance. You almost sell Max Kepler. We're talking about selling Byron Buxton. This is not. Byron Buxton had a great year this year, and we're talking about selling him. That would be like, not something a team contending. I actually had them as my wild card team, if you watched that video a couple months ago, and they're always competitive. The Twins are always competitive, and I just thought this would be another year where they sneak into the wild card spot. They might get trounced by whoever they play, but I was like, they'll sneak into the wild card spot. They definitely did not do that. And when you're like, well, they're still the Twins, they weren't expected to be World Series contenders. No, I agree, but whenever you could have finished the season 82-80 or 81-81 and potentially landed in 2nd place ahead of the Royals, Tigers, and Indians, once you list those teams out and realize 2nd place is under 500 in that division and you're dead last in a spot where I know I wasn't the only one, but I'll say me alone, I'll take credit for it. Had you at least competing for a wild card spot, it's not good. That's not a good look at all, and that's why the Minnesota Twins land at number 2 on this list. Our honorable mention for the bummer list is the New York Yankees. At the time of recording, they're currently 83-67, and you're like, man, that's a satisfying record for 90% of the fan bases. Hell yeah, it is. That's 29 straight seasons. 29 straight seasons with a winning record. And why do they appear on the Bombers list if that's the case? Well, here's the thing. Yankees fans expect rings. That's why anytime you have an argument with them, they say 27 rings. Well, guess what? You're not going to be competing for a ring when in that division, 83-67 lands you in not 1st, not 2nd, not 3rd, but 4th place. The only team under you is the only team in that division that's under 500. So, that means you just got to be playing against your rivals or your in-division teams better, and they didn't do that. So that's why they land themselves on the bummers list, because with that talented of a roster, you should be outright winning that division, especially when the team is staying healthy, which they, for the most part, did this year. And when your team's staying healthy in that roster, and it's a bummer. Not quite a bummer enough, because they had a good year. Statistically speaking, they had a good year, but I can tell you Yankees fans are disappointed. If I'm rooting for a big market fan base like that, it would be like the Dodgers not being successful, or, the Yankees not being successful. It's just not the normal in New York, and that's why they make the honorable mention on this list. Speaking of bracket busters, my number one spot on the bummers list is the New York Mets. Man, my World Series pick for the 2021 season, boy, was I wrong. I would be a lot more harsh on them if they didn't lose the best, in my opinion, the most valuable player in all of baseball. Oh, yes, over Mike Trout. Sue me. They lost him mid-season before the All-Star break and started going like this, going downhill. And it was like my best analogy, I guess, for it was a 1-ton boulder rolling downhill and one person trying to stop it. For the first 10 seconds, you might be able to get some slow down, and then it just kind of keeps barreling down. And that's basically how the Mets season went. You go pick up Francisco Lindor. He has a horrible year, and instead of getting any better around that, at the trade deadline, you go for Javi Baez, who is probably one of the most overrated players in baseball, and that's just not a good look. It's not a good look on the team, and I'm kind of like, pitching for the most part was okay. The bullpen wasn't very good, and now you're looking at a season where you're going to end up under 500. That's just, it's not how I thought they would finish. I'm disappointed. You had guys like, I don't know why the media had people like me and every other baseball fan thinking that James McCann was all of a sudden going to be the best catching bat in baseball, or why Lindor was going to pick it up out of nowhere when he had a bad season the last couple of years, and I don't know. He's starting to pick it up at the end of the season, but nonetheless, I don't know. You have these 12 more years to figure it out. That's fine. But the Mets, new ownership, you got to get it figured out. You need to bring 2 winning teams to New York immediately. You know how, I'm thinking personally, there is a chance where the Rays and the Brewers face off in the World Series this year. You know how much that would suck for the MLB? 2 really small market teams going head to head in the World Series. It's not going to be as marketable as a Dodgers Yankees World Series. You know how marketable a Yankees Mets World Series would be? We're looking at a rough spot there with 2 big market teams not showing up. So that's why the Mets make the first spot on the bummer list. Now, let's be a little more positive. We're gonna head to the Hummers. So in my head, when I think of the Hummer division, obviously I just tried to think of somebody who would something that rhymed with bummer, and Hummer rhymed, but somebody who's humming along because people slept on them. So that's what these teams are. I hope that kind of makes sense. I thought it was pretty self-explanatory, but starting off with number 5 of the Hummers list, and this is the team I had rated absolutely dead perfect, but I was kind of shaky on because I didn't know how the pitching was going to do, and the pitching showed up this year, and that's going to be the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays have the best offense in baseball. You can say that's controversial, whatever, but that young talent star hitting central is literally full of all-stars. Whether you want to admit it or not, Vlad, Bo, Cavan, Teoscar Hernandez, my brain's farting, but you know what I mean. Like they all could be all-stars at any point in time in the next 3 years. Vlad is arguably, controversially, making a run at MVP this year, and you know, honestly, I think they have the best offense in baseball. And then the bullpen was a little shaky throughout the year, but the starting pitching showed up with Robbie Ray, and then going out and acquiring Jose Berrios, a bunch of very good moves. If you're a Blue Jays fan, you have a lot to root for in the future. They make the number 5 spot on this list because I had them a little more properly rated. They didn't really blow my expectations out of the water, but I'm very proud of this team, and I'm not a Blue Jays fan. Don't really care for the Blue Jays at all, but Blue Jays fans, stay excited. They make number 5 spot on the Hummers list. Coming in at the number 4 spot on the Hummers list is the Tampa Bay Rays, and I know what you're asking. How does the team who is defending an AL title making the Hummers list? Like, did you not expect them to be here? No. Go back and watch my other videos. I didn't. I feel like when most teams lose 2 of their, I'll say top 3 best performing pitchers, and then in the middle of the season, obviously I couldn't see this coming, lose their 3rd starting pitcher and manage to virtually walk away with the 2nd or 1st toughest division in baseball. Yeah, I'm going to put the Rays at number 4. It's pretty impressive. It's a pretty impressive stat line. You have guys like Randy Arozarena showing up, Wander Franco coming up and making a big deal, on base streak went crazy high. And you have guys like Brandon Lau showing up, having a really good year, Joey Wendell having a really good year, Kevin Kiermaier having a big bounce back year after a couple years of I'm not going to say failure, but a little more disappointing seasons. I'm going to put the Tampa Bay Rays here at number 4. I don't think they make it any higher because, like I said, they are the defending AL title winners, AL champions. That's what I meant to say. But, they really impressed me this year. I thought for sure at least, the Red Sox or the Yankees could catch up to them, and they kept winning. Very impressive year by the Rays. Coming in at number 3 is the team that put the Cardinals at number 5 on the bummers list, and that's going to be the Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers showed up and showed out. Going back to 2018 when they made the playoffs, if you really look into it, a Christian Yelich MVP season kind of carried them there. It was kind of Christian Yelich, a small show up from Jesus Aguilar this year that year, and the rest of the offense kind of just worked around him a little bit. Well, this year Christian Yelich struggled, and they walked away with the NL Central. That's not what I expected him to do. Pitching is great. Corbin Burns and Freddie Peralta, combined with the bullpen of Devin Williams and Josh Hader, that is an insane combination. Because they combined for a no-hitter this year. That just proves where I am. That team offense was a little better than I thought it was going to be. The pitching staff is probably right where I thought it was going to be, but definitely carried them to a lot of wins this year. Can't wait to see what they do in the playoffs. Number 2 and number 1s here are probably very interchangeable, but I feel like this is the best order you can put them in. And number 2, I'm going to have the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox shocked the world. They virtually have no starting pitching staff, and they walk into the division, possibly steal wild card spot from the Yankees, which, as I talked about earlier, the Yankees should not have that happen. That means they had a pretty good year. Boston Red Sox offense coming from a bounce back year from Hunter Renfroe, or a bounce back, kind of a breakout year, the year that we always thought he could have. He showed up and performed. You trade 2 star players in the last year. Not 1, but 2 star players in Mookie Betts and Andrew Benintendi, and that usually means you're not going to be a winning team the next year. Not only are they a winning team, but they're in 2nd place in that division, and could possibly lock up this playoff spot here in the next couple days. Some pieces that they picked up, like Alex Verdugo, from the trades, are a big part in where they are now. Garrett Richards showing up at the end of the year as he has, possibly could be a closing spot going into the going into the playoffs. Bullpen kind of beefs up with him doing that. Overall, Red Sox, if you make the playoffs this year, be happy. I don't know. I mean, like, I know at this point you're like, oh, maybe we could do more, but there is no reason that you should be where you are. Take that as you want it. You can be as offended as you want to be. There is no reason that y'all should have been competing this year. A lot of people, myself included, had y'all out. So, round of applause for the Red Sox. This is probably the most harsh critique for a spot that I could have given somebody, because my honorable mention is going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I know a lot of y'all will disagree, but the Dodgers shouldn't have to be on this list. Everybody knows what the Dodgers could do. In fact, the Dodgers are, at the time of this recording, 1 game out of first place, and if they were 3 to 4 games out, I would actually have them on the bummers list. Like, that is the expectations I'm writing for the Dodgers right now, as most people are. You have the most stacked roster in baseball. It's not even a question. I don't care how bad Cody Bellinger is struggling. There's so much output that can be put out from that offense. Not like you don't have a pitching staff either. You have probably, arguably, name and talent-wise, the best pitching staff in baseball. So, therefore, you should not be on this list. You're not overachieving. In fact, you were very close to underachieving the Giants, and you aren't so close. But, leading into that, the number 1 team on the Hummers list is the San Francisco Giants. The San Francisco Giants are just out of nowhere. Did what we were told the Padres were going to do at the beginning of the season. That is what the Giants did. You got guys like Buster Posey and Brandon Crawford having borderline career years, making me feel like it is 2010 again. Flashbacks, horrible. The Giants not only have the best record in the NL, but the best record in all of baseball out of nowhere. And even if they get dethroned by the Dodgers by the end of the year, which is, they've already secured a playoff spot, so they're going to the playoffs. And we've seen them win out of the wild card spot before. That wouldn't be surprising. They are definitely a lead runner for me for World Series. They've shown me nothing else than to take that spot in the World Series from where I had the Mets. They will walk away with the World Series, whoever they play. I feel like that team is the strongest team in baseball, which is, going into this year, I couldn't see happening at that point. You think you got to wash Brandon Crawford, you got to wash Buster Posey, and they said no. We're 23 again, Great season by the Giants. Ultimately, could see them winning the whole thing at the end of the year. Very surprising. That's why they make the top spot at the Hummers list. Alright, so my reliability is kind of out of the table, especially once we're here in September and we compare where I was at, 7 months ago in February. My reliability is out of the window, which is disappointing. That's fine. Freezing cold takes is kind of my thing, but I haven't made the Twitter page yet. The freezing cold takes Twitter page, haven't made that yet, so that's perfectly fine with me. Hopefully this will be a little bit less controversial than my predictions, because my predictions were freezing cold. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you aren't already, please subscribe. If you can see back there, I have that put up. It is my podcast on Spotify. Still can't believe I'm saying those words. If you have a Spotify account, look up the Live a Little podcast. Make sure you go listen to the audio exclusive with Morning Buzz that is only available on Spotify and Google Podcasts. It's a great conversation, but it's kind of secret because we talk about some really messed up stuff, and I don't really want that available on YouTube because they might censor me. So shh. Shout out again to Morning Buzz. Shout out again to you guys. You guys are a big part in me recording this right now. I miss y'all, and hopefully I'm back to making videos again soon. All off season, I plan on lining up podcast after podcast. I'm hoping between the last game of the World Series in the first day of spring training. I'm hoping I can do this. At least 5 podcasts, including possibly a special guest that you've already seen on here before. So make sure you subscribe for that content. If you stuck around with me this long, I appreciate you guys. I won't waste your time anymore. Peace.